I must admit that I was wrong about Enzo Maresca. I criticized him a lot about his ideas and the direction in which he wanted Chelsea to go and the way in which the team was playing. And specifically, I mentioned that his lack of game management was something that I was not impressed with. When they went to Manchester United, they got a red card and they lost that game. And other games like that where they will be leading, and once they get a red card, they're unable to manage the game and they will lose in the process. And also lack of discipline from the players. I criticized them a lot about that, but the game against Arsenal has given me a different dimension to his ideas and what he's trying to build at Chelsea. It was a game that Caicedo let down his teammates. It was reckless on his part. It was a lack of composure against Arsenal in a match where there's already been a comparison between himself and Declan Rice, who is the best midfielder in England, or in the world rather, and there's conversations about himself and Caicedo and Rice. And going into this game, every one of us was looking forward to who is going to win the battle of these midfield. The two best midfielders went against each other, but it was the Chelsea's midfielder that almost gave the game away. I can say it here without any fear that Chelsea were a better side. Even though I envisioned Arsenal to sort of win the game and get 3 points in that match, but the way in which they approached the game from the beginning, even when they got a red card, was just something that is worth applauding them for. You know, Enzo Maresca once again demonstrated why he is building something solid at Chelsea. His ideas are finally being implemented and being acceptable. It is another thing, if you have good ideas, it is another thing for the players to be susceptible to these ideas. They embrace the ideas and they run with it. You will have good results. And we are finally seeing that the Chelsea players are open to these ideas, and indeed they are carrying the responsibility of that team on their shoulders. If you look at the likes of Enzo Fernandez, Reece James, wow, their performance against Arsenal is just unbelievable. These guys were outstanding. And I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans were left crestfallen with the performance of their team against Chelsea, a 10-man Chelsea. Everyone would have predicted it was going to go the way of Arsenal, you know, especially having a man down against a team like Arsenal that is lethal. A team like Arsenal that when it comes to scoring goals, they score goals for fun. And they are unarguably the best team in the league and in Europe at the moment, according to Arsenal fans. So going into this game against Chelsea is a game where I predicted Arsenal to win, and that is largely because of the way they've been playing in recent times, and they are on top of the league, and they're beating Bayern Munich the way in which they did, and going to Stamford Bridge in recent times where they usually get positive results. And Arteta, mind you, he's unbeaten in like 7 visits to Chelsea. So that head-to-head gave me the idea that Arsenal were not going to drop points against Chelsea. They were just going to go there and get 3 points. However, the Chelsea side were determined to also get something. They're beginning to look like a team that actually want to challenge the title, that are in the competition to win it. You know, and it was just a beautiful thing to watch. You know, the Chelsea of the beginning of the season that I was criticizing a lot, we're not going to get a draw against Arsenal. We're not even going to take a lead against Arsenal after going a man down. You know, but the players were resilient. The players were determined to get something. The players were there for each other. They suffered in that game in order for them, you know, to get something at the end of the day. At a point against Arsenal, you know, getting a red card in the first half of the game is just, for me, it was a win, man. It was a win. Because I never gave them that opportunity. I never gave them that chance that Chelsea are going to get something against Arsenal going into this game. You know, Arsenal is a very solid side. Like I said, I admire their way of play a lot. I admire the kind of defenders. They've not been conceding a lot of goals in recent times. I think they've just conceded like 8 Premier League goals so far, you know, which will still have a long way to go, you know. And if they can be able to keep their clean sheet and win matches, I am still tipping them to win the league. However, the league is wide open now. Having Manchester City behind us now 5 points, and they are 6 points ahead of Chelsea. These two teams are going to give them a run for their money, Chelsea and Manchester City. But in this game, you can see that Enzo Maresca is gradually becoming a world-class coach. You know, when it happens once, you will just think it's a fluke, and it's not going to repeat itself again, because it happened against a PSG in the Club World Cup, where they went to play. PSG were playing tough teams, winning all their matches and scoring a lot of goals. And Chelsea, a lot of people were saying that they were playing smaller teams who were not strong enough, hence they were winning and they got to the final. However, that final demonstrated something that they will need to win it, and they made a statement. It was a huge statement on the part of Chelsea. They made a statement winning that game, but a lot of people were still not satisfied. People were judging them, you know, based on it's just a one match thing, you know. And Chelsea now continue to do that, continue to improve. They continue to become better and better and better. A match against Liverpool in the league, which they won, Estevao scoring the winning goal. A match against Barcelona, and now the match at home against Arsenal. These are clear indications that Chelsea want to win the Premier League, and we write them off. This is soccer anyway. Anything can still happen, but for me personally, I think Arsenal, I need to win it, because like I've explained a lot, I'll continue to reiterate some of the things that I've said, that Arsenal, to me, are more of a solid team than Chelsea, because they now have the depth in that team. They have, you know, players who can come from the bench and hurt you. The likes of Noni Madueke came from the bench. You know, Trossard is injured, but is another addition to the team that is very solid as well. You know, they have Martinelli there. So they have a squad now, a large squad now that even with players out injured, they can still have replacements that will be able to give them positive results. Chelsea on the other hand also have something solid. They have players who, if Garnacho is not playing, Estevao is playing. You know, if Caicedo is not playing, we have Santos who is there, and we also have Lavia who is coming back from injury. You know, Kopama is coming back, even though Enzo Fernandez has been fantastic in that role. You know, playing, carrying the responsibility of the team on his shoulders. That demonstrated his leadership qualities. Himself and Reece James, these guys, they've been excellent, you know. And they sort of exceeded my expectation with this game, because I never expected Chelsea to sort of get a point against Arsenal, a solid Arsenal team, you know. But they exceeded that expectation. And it was a solid match, a beautiful match. Caicedo needs to learn. You know, he needs to learn to be more matured and compose himself. He's lacking in that composure, because in a game of such magnitude, you don't go in being rash. You don't go into that game playing the way he played. You know, the first half of the game, you could see that Chelsea were at advantage. They were pressing Arsenal more. Arsenal players were getting yellow cards left, right. So what you do now as a player, if you are a clever player, what you do is to do that, use that to their own advantage, knowing fully well that like 3 Arsenal players, including their defenders, were on yellow cards. So what do? You try to commit them, and by that now you change you force the coach to make to change his approach to the game. Because in the second half, Arteta was also going to be careful to make sure that we don't get a red card. So you know obviously he's going to be able to he's going to change his players that are on yellow cards in order for them not to get a second yellow card. And then as a player from Chelsea, that is how you take advantage. You capitalize on that, and you make sure that you're always forcing these players to commit, the referee can forgive them once but not twice, because all eyes are on the referee. And this is something that Caicedo failed to realize. He was at an advantage in the first half. He should have composed himself. He should have made sure that he was careful with some of the tackles in the midfield. I understand he was overwhelmed, in a game like this, because he's playing against somebody that they are comparing him to in the league, and he was eager to prove to a lot of people that he is the best midfielder in the league, which is understandable. But when you are playing a game like that, where you know that any mistake, the pressure is on the coach, on the referee rather, to make a decision, you're supposed to be careful, because he put his players in a dangerous position. His teammates struggled all through. They suffered because of him. And kudos to all of them. Chalobah scored his goal, which is what's a very important goal for him, a morale booster for him. He's been under a spotlight in recent times with his performances. So scoring in a game like that was just something that I believe a lot of Chelsea fans are going to be happy with, which if you can look at the comments right now, you will see that majority of them are excited with his performances against Arsenal. And not just himself, Fofana came back from injury and he's also doing it. Everybody in that team was just excellent. Everybody played, to their strength. Reece James, man of the match, man. He was just, bossing people in the midfield. He was this guy who controlled the midfield. He moved from defense to the midfield. And when I first saw the lineup, I was very careful, and I was sort of not convinced. Saying, how can you be using James in the midfield when you have Santos on the bench? But it was another master plan from Enzo Maresca. I underestimated this guy. I did not believe in his ideas, But now he's beginning to show that he wants to become a world-class coach. And he also wants to compete in the English Premier League. Forget the hype, but we've been saying a lot of things. Forget the noise that is coming from every quarter here and there about Chelsea being in the title, being one of the title contenders. I sort of debunked that a long time ago, and I will continue to do. However, they're showing signs that they want to be in it, and we can only wait and see what is going to happen at the end of the season. But overall, it was a very interesting game. It was a game that was, kind of intense from both teams. But kudos go to Chelsea. I mean, Arsenal is a fantastic side. They are winning. They also played very well. But Chelsea were just miles ahead of them. And I say that because Chelsea were a man down. So every advantage, every positive result there goes to them. Anyway, that was just the London derby, the Super Sunday that we're talking about. A lot of people were excited. A lot of people were sad. I'm sure Arsenal fans are also excited. After watching the game, they're excited that they got something positive, at least a point out of that game, and they still maintain their 5 points on top of the league. In another match in the English Premier League, it was also a positive result for another team that I have been criticizing in recent times. Manchester United traveled to Crystal Palace, and it was going to be a difficult game, which is what it was. It was a difficult one for Manchester United. However, United are determined to also get positive results in a place where most teams are failing. When you go to Crystal Palace, you're guaranteed to know that you are going to meet a lot of resistance from the players, and if you don't play very well, you might not get a positive result. But United were determined to get it, and they got 3 points, all thanks to Mason Mount, who scored the winning goal, coming from a goal down against Crystal Palace to winning 2-1. So United got back to winning, and they are now on 21 points in the league. They're not far from the top. Arsenal are just a few points ahead of them. But it's getting interesting. The league is still it's too early for anyone to predict at the moment. You can have your predictions here and there, but at the end of the day, some teams are going to surprise you. Another positive outcome for another team that has been struggling in recent times, Liverpool traveled to West Ham. We knew it was going to be a difficult one as well. But I'm excited for Isaac for scoring his first goal for Liverpool in the English Premier League. This is what you want to do. This is what we want to see. We want to see these games. I want to see these players doing well so that there'll be competition. Let Liverpool come back. Let Liverpool start winning matches. I don't want the game, like I always say on this show, I don't want the competition to be one-sided. I want every team to compete so that at the end of the day, if Arsenal wins, Chelsea wins, Manchester City wins, Man United, Liverpool, anybody that wins, you will know that the competition was tight and everybody gave their all in order for them to win it. So that was a positive outcome. Another London derby that no one, I don't know, I did not envision this result. It was a game between Tottenham against Fulham, and Fulham traveling to Tottenham. I doubt they were going to get a positive result there, but once again, this is soccer, anything can happen. And if you're playing in the same city, chances are that you understand each other and the result can go either way. So Fulham demonstrated another strength against Tottenham and they won that game away 2-1. So it was a beautiful weekend for Fulham. Manchester United, Manchester City also at home against Leeds United. It was going to be a tough game for Leeds United going into this match, playing at home against playing at Etihad against Manchester City. It was going to be a difficult one. Although they gave their all, they played very well. Coming from a goal down to coming from 2 goals down rather to make it 2-2. But City wanted it more, and they want to put pressure on Arsenal and Chelsea on top there to make sure that they also are going to make a statement in the league. So City won that game 3-2. 2 goals from Foden. Phil Foden, with his excellent performance, gave City 3 points. All right, talking about positive result, we're moving straight into Spanish league where Barcelona played against Alaves, and it was going to be a very easy game on paper. Like I always say, when it comes to predicting of these games, a big team is playing against a small team. Everybody wants to say that they are going to, or they're not going to win, or they're going to win. It's going to be one-sided. But when you go into a game like this, some teams also want to make a statement. They want to say to you, you know what, you cannot just come here and just get 3 points like that. So Alaves took the lead against Barcelona, but Barcelona came back and won that game 3-1. Madrid traveled to Girona. It was a difficult game for Madrid. Mbappe converting the penalty to give Madrid a point against Girona. That point wasn't enough to take Madrid back to the top of the table, as Barcelona are now on top of the league. Could this be the end of Real Madrid's quest for the title? Anyway, we have to wait and see. The league is still early, but it was a beautiful performance from Real Madrid and Girona. They shared the points there to make sure that, it was equal. All right, in Italy, Inter Milan, AC Milan, Roma, Napoli, all these teams are making sure that they put the pressure on top of the league. We don't know who's going to win it at the end of the day. Man, we don't know. But I'm loving this competition. I'm loving what I'm seeing in Italian league, where all the teams are making sure that they're winning their games and they're staying in the title race. In the race where anything can happen. Roma at home against Napoli. Napoli won that game 1-0. It was a beautiful performance once again from Antonio Conte's team, to make sure that they put the pressure on top of the league. AC Milan played against Lazio, and AC Milan, of course, won once again to maintain their position on top of the league. Inter Milan traveled to Pisa. Inter Milan won. So you see the competition is heating up in Italy. Teams are not giving up. There's been exchange of who's going to be on top, who's going to be second, who's going to be third, who's going to be fourth. But trust me, they're all not too far from each other. All right, in Germany, Bayern Munich continue to make a statement and working towards retaining the league that they won last season. They were at home against Pauli, and Pauli took the lead against Bayern Munich. We're beginning to give up that Munich were not going to get something. They came back, equalized 1-1, and at the end of the day, it was Munich once again who won the game. Nicolas Jackson scoring the 3rd goal to ensure that Munich got all 3 points in that match. So this was just a beautiful weekend of sports. and we're going to have a lot of Premier League and other leagues that are taking place during the week. This is December. In this December, remember the fixtures are always very choked for the English Premier League teams. They'll be playing every 3 days, every 2 days, just to make sure that they compress the matches and not take too many to next year, 2026. So I'm going to be able to bring all these results to you. I don't want you to miss anything. Every game that is going to be taking place, all the results that are going to be coming out from every league, I want to make sure that you do not miss anything at all. As always, I'll be here to tell you about some of these calls, the ones that you predict and the one that you don't even see coming. It is my responsibility to make sure that you don't miss it. All right, we've come to the end of these short soccer highlights with myself, Emi Akura, and I want to wish you a happy new month. You are in a month of, higher ground, in a month of greater things to come in your life as you continue to watch RTA. Until I come your way again, stay blessed.